Hey folks, how you doing? This is Lance McBrayer with the Lance McBrayer Lab, and here we go with another video today. I hope you had an amazing Sunday. The sun was shining here in Boston, and the weather was fantastic. I think getting us ready for the next couple of days, which I heard might be like 60 or 65 degrees. Woo! Anyway, I'm coming to you today with this video that kind of has to do with this guy actually, Elmo. Yeah, and so you might ask, well, what? What does Elmo have to do with anything? Well, I actually brought this T-shirt, I don't know, a few years ago actually, maybe at least 2 years ago, maybe from, I'm gonna say, I don't know, Target, Marshalls, and I just love the way Elmo was on this T-shirt with his arms open wide. But it actually reminded me of that toy that I know a lot of kids used to have a few years ago. He was really very popular, and you squeeze Elmo, and he'd say cute little things like, "Hi, I'm Elmo," or he'd say, "I love you," or he'd say, like, "That tickles." I know. But anyway, the point is that whenever you squeeze Elmo, he was programmed to come out and say these cute little things and show love and affection to the children. Well, I'm going to use a different kind of metaphor along with that, and that is the metaphor of the orange. So with this metaphor, it kind of helps us to appreciate the same thing about when you squeeze an orange. What comes out? Yeah, well, you're probably saying orange juice. Well, really, that's the answer, right? Because no matter how you squeeze this orange or how hard you squeeze it, you're never gonna get apple juice, or you're never gonna get grapefruit juice or grape juice. You're only gonna get what? Yes, orange juice. And you can ask any little kid that simple question and they'll probably look at you strange, and you can say, and they'll say like, "Of course, silly, like you're gonna get orange because why?" Well, that's what's inside, they'll tell you. Orange juice out of an orange. Well, the same thing though can be applied when we take the metaphor just a little bit further and we ask about what happens when we get squeezed. Like maybe someone says something to us that we don't like, or maybe we find our life going in a direction where it's causing us some anxiety or stress, or maybe again someone else causes us anxiety or stress from what they said, or they said something to us that we just can't handle or don't like. And so we say, well, that's because it's the way that they said it. You know what I mean? And or it's what they said, because out of us, when we're in that situation where we feel squeezed, if things like hatred or anger or bitterness or anxiety, stress, fear, if those things come out of us when we're squeezed by something that someone says about us or to us that we don't like, and we, like I said, might say, well, it's because of the way they said this or they did that, that's why I, that's why the anger or the bitterness or the fear or the anxiety came out of me. But really, it's the same reason when that orange gets squeezed, that orange juice comes out of that, because that's what's inside. So there really aren't any excuses about what he did or she did or he said or she said as to why when we reply with that kind of negative emotions or actions, we can't use it as an excuse, because really it's only showing what's truly already inside of us. But what if we don't like what we see coming out when we get squeezed? Can you do anything about it? Well, just like that orange juice, or rather unlike that orange and the orange juice that comes out of it, that's just the way that that orange juice was made. But we weren't actually made or born with anger, bitterness, hatred, fear already inside of us, right? Those things were sort of programmed, if you will, like the electronic Elmos that I was talking about in the beginning of this video. They were programmed to say, I love you, and all those cute little things. And so we were programmed generally when we were in our younger years by our parents or teachers or whatever. So what we can do though is reprogram our brains and what's inside of us. We can really turn it around to what we were really born with, which is love and compassion and tenderness and caring. You can see that in any of the youngest children that you're around. That's generally what they start off with, and then they're just learned, behaviors are learned or programmed into them later on in life. So, again, if we don't like what we see, we can change it. How? Well, it's something that I talked about in another video, which is reprogramming ourselves through telling us or using the I am sort of power phrase. So we can say that I am love, I am compassion, I am calm and peace, all those good things that we want. And again, it might take some time in reprogramming, but it can happen. And it might not be perfectly changed, but it can at least allow us to get to a higher consciousness about what we see inside of us when we're squeezed, so that it doesn't have to just be on automatic, that we just fire out what we always have most of our adult lives, but instead we tend to start to build a higher level of consciousness, and that just means basically being conscious of what comes out of us and what we see inside of us and what we really want inside of us too, and this allowing that to change it. It's things like, reading the Bible, if you will, or other spiritual books that will change you for something positive. And so you can reprogram and you can change those things so that you don't have to be like that orange that is just squeezed, and what's inside is usually good for the orange, but for us, we want it to be good just the same way. So anyway, I hope that you got the point out of that story and analogy, and you can go ahead and start putting into practice that this week coming, and we'll see you tomorrow with another new video. But until then, peace and hair grease, and let's go.